Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy, presented by Yamaha.
Got it, Matt? Go the back, Matt. Go down, Matt.
Today's Sportsman's Adventures takes us to one of America's most unique and diverse environments. In the great state of Florida, life is at its very best. Florida is a land of beautiful images, and people travel here from around the world to experience them. We are a state that has been blessed with incredible natural resources, the most breathtaking and beautiful being our oceans, rivers, and lakes. They provide natural beauty, and they make Florida the fishing and diving capital of the world.
Look at how beautiful he is.
Fishing, both recreational
Wow!
and commercial, provide jobs and a way of life for countless Floridians. Captain Rick Murphy has been professionally fishing Florida waters for more than 30 years.
You know, I'm on the water every day and have been for over 30 years in this beautiful state of Florida. And so it's very, very important for us to make sure that we keep our water clean, because certainly it's going to help the environment to grow. And what I mean by environment, it's certainly going to help the fish, it's going to help all the stuff that the fish feed on. But the most important thing is, when I travel throughout the state, whether I'm fishing redfish tournaments, sailfish tournaments on the East Coast, or maybe shooting just different shows in different areas, it's important that we maintain a great, valuable water source and keep that water source clean, is that we understand that it's a very fragile ecosystem. And so we've got to make sure as anglers, as taxpayers, that we pay attention to what's going on here in the state so that we know that the ecosystem is being taken care of. The FWC has to make sure that the water and the environment stays intact. That's one of the things that I'm very impressed about, and how well Florida is managing the peninsula and all the water that it has to offer.
Florida also has the largest barrier reef in the world. Our spectacular corals and pristine waters attract divers from around the world each year, with an economic impact generating millions of dollars.
The reason why diving is so important for the state of Florida, there's people that come from all over the world to dive this state. There's so many different varieties of diving. There's wreck diving, there's reef diving, there's cave diving, there's spring diving, and people that have these particular interests in sport diving come to Florida to do what they love.
And don't forget about the night diving either. All of these spots are fantastic during the day, but they are equally as fabulous at night.
It's one of the only reef systems in this part of the world, especially for the United States. There's a living reef that starts in Fort Lauderdale and it goes all the way down to Key West. It's a barrier reef, and that barrier reef is home to millions and millions of fish. Several different kinds of species of fish. The corals are exotic. I mean, you're not going to get that in too many places. You can go to Belize, you can go to Australia, but Florida has it too. Florida has a wide variety of wrecks. You have aircraft carrier off the coast of Pensacola. You have the Vandenberg down in Key West.
The Spirit of Miami, which is an airplane.
Yep, an airplane. I mean, it's incredible. It's a robust system. It adds to the marine life. It gives opportunities to dive these things and visit these amazing wrecks. It's one of the only reef systems in this part of the world, especially for the United States. There's a living reef that starts in Fort Lauderdale and it goes all the way down to Key West. It's a barrier reef, and that barrier reef is home to millions and millions of fish. Several different kinds of species of fish. The corals are exotic. I mean, you're not going to get that in too many places. You can go to Belize, you can go to Australia, but Florida has it too.
Yeah, the other good thing about diving in Florida is that the Gulf Stream comes real close in the Palm Beach, Jupiter area, and now it's bringing in some huge animals that you've got to see before you leave.
Yeah, and that healthy water from the Gulf Stream makes sure that our reef systems are vibrant.
Visit Florida.com. It's the official source of travel planning for the state of Florida, and Chris Thompson is the president and CEO.
We are the fishing capital of the world. I think, let me see if I get these numbers right, 7,700 lakes, 10,550 miles of rivers, and 2,276 miles of tidal shoreline. So pretty much any kind of fish you want to fish, freshwater, saltwater, we have the opportunity. I think the other thing is that we have year-round fishing. I mean, literally, there's not too many months that you can't fish down here. I think we have the most fishing days and the most number of anglers that actually come to fish than any other state in the country. Saltwater fishing alone is a $5.2 billion industry, employs 51,000 people in the state, from the captains and everybody that supports the industry. So it's a huge part of what Florida is all about as far as things there are to see and do. We have a website, fishingcapitaloftheworld.com, and it is literally the one-stop shop of everything that there is to do in fish, everything there is to do in the state as far as it relates to fishing. So all the hot spots, all the events and the deals, all the captain's reports. Also, it's an interactive community, so it allows people that are in the fishing, whether you're professional or recreational, to actually go on and engage in Facebook conversations, Twitter conversations, and even upload your catch of the day. So it's a resource that actually capitalizes on everything there is to see and do as it relates to fishing in Florida. Last year we hosted 82 million visitors that spent $63 billion. So this is a part of that tourism economy. It's the #1 industry in the state. Sales generates 22% of the sales tax revenue is paid by people that don't live here in Florida. Probably one of the single reasons, other than a constitutional reason, that we don't have a personal income tax. So a huge part of the industry, and fishing, recreational fishing, is a huge part of why people enjoy Florida and keep coming back year in and year out. I'm very proud of the infrastructure that supports the industry. Some of the most passionate people about the state of Florida are those fishing captains that many of who have born and raised here and grown up here and know those waters like the back of their hands. So I think that as the backbone of the fishing economy is something very special.
When Sportsman's Adventures returns, we'll introduce you to the people who directly oversee our resource management.
Off Tampa, Florida, big tarpon thrills. They are the acrobatic stars of salt water. Once they feel the hook in their mouths, they put on a performance never to be forgotten by the sportsmen hanging on and fighting to bring them in. With anywhere from 20 to 75 pounds of fighting fish, it's a battle never won until he's in the boat, and most likely to be lost when close to capture. Here's another strike, and characteristically, the big fish tries to stand on his tail. Every flashing leap is to get into the air where he can shake himself so violently that the hook may be dislodged, and often is. And now in slow motion, the bait can be seen knocked off the hook as the fish leaps clear of the water. It's a great sport.
Sportsman's Adventures is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Florida, the fishing capital of the world. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. Williamson for the pelagic playground. VMC Hooks. Minn Kota, anywhere, anytime. And by Humminbird, simply, clearly better.
I got my first Yamaha in 1994, and I still use that outboard in the Bahamas today. This Yamaha 130 has over 2,000 hours on it, and it sometimes sits for 6 months. I can always depend on it starting and performing like it did when it was new. Everybody knows Yamaha stakes their reputation on reliability, and for me, that Yamaha 130 is living proof. So if you're considering a Yamaha, I can tell you that reliability and performance is something that you can count on for a long time.
It'd be cool if we had something to yell when a tree falls down.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
What do you think about this? Extreme caution is advised, a tree's falling down!
Meh.
Okay, how about this? Timber!
Better.
Always use the best line, Suffix 832.
Think GPS is just for getting you to the water? Think again. The new iPilot wireless GPS trolling system can hold your boat in place like an electronic anchor, record and retrace productive fishing paths, automatically keep you on any bearing you choose, and take total command of speed and steering. iPilot controls your boat with wireless GPS precision so you can focus on fishing. And it's only from Minn Kota.
You already know about the La Jolla Resort in Isla Mirada, so let's talk about the La Jolla experience. With an on-site boat ramp, the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic is just minutes away. And when you return from fishing, there's barbecue pits to cook your catch while your family enjoys the pool or one of our new remodeled rooms. This historic resort, the La Jolla, is family owned and operated and has a friendly staff ready to make your La Jolla experience a really great one.
You know there's more to it than luck. There's fishing the right bait, the water temperature, the wind, the season, and then there's the boat. We'll put it simply, the boat matters. To own a Contender is to own the best sport fishing boat on the market, period. Contender offers the most comprehensive model range with bigger, faster, and more fuel-efficient boats than the competition. There's only one choice for serious anglers. Contender boats. Performance through innovation.
Welcome back to our special look at Florida and its natural resources. These resources are incredibly important to our state and its continued economic growth and prosperity. Protecting this tremendous resource is the job of many state and federal agencies, but none as important as the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. The FWC was created by the Florida legislature to protect and to oversee, as well as manage fish and wildlife resources for their long-term well-being and the benefit of the people. The FWC provides law enforcement officers as well as biologists who are on the water every day. Nick Wiley is the FWC Executive Director.
The Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission is in the middle of all this. Our role is to find the right balance between the interest of what people want and what people need to do in Florida, and also what's right and what's important for the resource. Maintaining those healthy ecosystems, maintaining our grass flats, maintaining the coral reef systems, those things that are vital to producing our fisheries. FWC is always in the middle of that, trying to find the right balance, trying to find the right science, the right policy, and working with people, with all the stakeholders in Florida that value that. So FWC's role is so critical and vital to that whole process, because we're kind of in the middle, making sure all the parts are coming together and all the pieces are connected. When you think of Florida, you think of the wonderful things you can do outdoors, like going fishing. Florida is the fishing capital of the world, and without a healthy fishery, we couldn't talk about fishing. We wouldn't have those things that people come to enjoy in Florida. As far as managing fisheries in Florida, it's very much a hands-on process. We build everything from a foundation of research. Very proud of our research efforts in Florida. We really have to know what's going on out in the ecosystem, what's happening with those fisheries populations. And another piece of that is working with our fishermen. They provide critical data to help us manage those resources and those populations so we can continue to be the fishing capital of the world. You have to have that partnership between the people that enjoy the resource, the people that make the policies, the people that gather the data that informs those policies. It's essential to have all the pieces in place to enjoy what we have in Florida. Hundreds of thousands of jobs rely on the fishing industry, from the boat manufacturers to the people at the marinas to the charter boats and guides. Those folks have to have a healthy fishery to be able to do what they do. So it's a critical piece of the economic engine, not to mention the fact that tourists come to Florida, and one of the top 3 things they want to do is catch a fish when they come. So that's critical to the tourism industry that is so vital to Florida's economy. When you look at all the opportunities we have, the length of the seasons, it's good weather in Florida almost all the time. The days of fishing we have more fishermen. We calculate those numbers and estimate how many fishermen. When you compare across the country, across the world, there's no other place like Florida that has so many fishermen and such a wealth of opportunities. So many places you can go, whether it's saltwater, freshwater, it's there. It's everywhere. Everywhere you turn, you can go catch a fish. The challenges we see ahead for this agency are certainly population growth. As more people move to Florida, more people realize this is a special place. We want to preserve the special nature, the special character of what Florida is. And that fish and wildlife resource issue is something that we're going to have to really pay attention to. We're going to have to do even more to make sure we're monitoring and providing the right science and information for decision makers and policy makers. We're going to have to do more working with people, public education. So it's a real important part of this to make sure people understand what's out there and what we can do to protect the resources, and that's a real big part of our job.
Of course, none of this is possible without strong leadership that places a priority on our environment. Florida is lucky to have a governor who understands the importance of maintaining that perfect balance between the health of our natural environment and the growth of our economy. Governor Rick Scott and FWC Chairman Kathy Barco joined Captain Rick Murphy in Key West on a beautiful late summer morning to sample the local fishing scene.
That's a beautiful fish, though.
Yeah, it is.
The people of Florida elected Rick Scott to be the jobs governor, and lucky for all of us, Governor Scott also understands how our natural resources provide jobs for thousands of Floridians and money for our state. He's an outdoor enthusiast who enjoys every opportunity to take advantage of all that our great state has to offer.
You know, just being on the water is so nice. It's nice to catch more fish than when you're not catching fish. But I fished more before I was governor. Now it's a little hard, but I love doing it. Sport fishing it's Florida. I mean, we've got the best fishing in the world. You can catch fish here, and we have all different types of fish. You know, we got great in the Atlantic and the Gulf. We've got great lakes and rivers to catch fish, and so we've got every type of fishing you can imagine. And you know, it's just beautiful to be out there and being out with friends. And now that I have a grandson, I intend to take him and teach him how to fish, and hopefully we'll have a lot of great fishing experiences where we have lots of great stories about how big our fish were. It's $1 billion plus portion of our economy, and you know, we've got a lot of great charter boat captains all over the state, and they are very good at making sure you catch fish. They're enjoyable to be with. It's part of our tourism industry, and you know, we have 82 million tourists that come here a year. Also great about our state is people are real conscious about, you know, doing catch and release and making sure that others have the same opportunity to catch fish. Of course, I do like to eat some of the fish we catch. The quality of our fish, as we all know, it's safe, it's tasty, and it's whether our fish or whether it's our oysters. Florida has absolutely the best fish in the world. If you want to enjoy fishing, I can't imagine a better state to go fishing.
Hey, it seems like only yesterday that kids were outside doing something like fishing. But that was a generation ago, and now many of them are always inside doing something that's not productive, like playing video games and texting. Why? Some don't have anyone to teach them the outdoor activities. Some don't have anywhere to go or any way to get there. And that's why the FWC has created the Florida Youth Conservation Center Network. It's a statewide network of conservation centers, and several sites are already up and running. But we need to do more, and we need to build more, and we need your help to do it. So we need your support, your time, your land, or equipment. You can help kids learn to love nature and to feel good about themselves. So help us create the next generation that cares by supporting the Florida Youth Conservation Center Network. Visit fyccn.com today for the details.
Welcome to the Inner Circle. Rotating coverage up to 300 feet gives you a detailed 360-degree view of structure, contour changes, and fish. So you can see them before they see you. Introducing 360 imaging, only from Humminbird.
It's got the punch of a heavyweight and the pounds of a lightweight. Welcome to the main event featuring the new Yamaha 4-stroke F70. Tipping the scales at up to 142 pounds lighter than its 4-stroke competitors. That's a class-leading power-to-weight ratio, a haymaker of a whole shot, surprising mid-range punch, incredible fuel economy, and industry-leading innovation, performance, and reliability. The Yamaha 4-stroke F70. Reliability starts here.
continuing the revolution. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers who launched the Bay Boat Revolution. Whether chasing world records, or time on the water with the family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder, #1 for a reason, still.
I've lost a lot of big fish because the bait I was using got picked off the hook. Whether I'm fishing for snappers or groupers offshore, trout, tarpon, snook, or reds inshore, I have the confidence to know that Trigger X is going to work in all weather conditions and temperatures. The pheromones and the look of the baits really work. I've won FLW IFA and Flatsmaster Redfish Championships using Trigger X. So, you want to keep using other stuff? Be my guest. That's what I'm talking about! Trigger the bite with Trigger X.
Send that one apart.
Got it.
Oh, chunky.
Oh my God.
That's a nice fish.
Wow.
Awesome.
Che gran pesce.
Buon bravo.
The future of Florida's fishery also depends on participation from the private sector. Maintaining a strong partnership between the government and the private sector helps to ensure success. Costa Del Mar is a Florida-based company that works with organizations that are focused on maintaining a wildlife balance that's good for fish, good for fishermen, and good for future generations of both. The man leading the charge is Al Perkinson, Costa's Vice President of Marketing.
Sport fishing is really good for the environment, and in order to have great sport fishing, you have to have lots of fish. In order to have lots of fish, you have to have clean water. In order to have clean water, you got to have a lot of smart policies on land around the water, and so it has sort of a cascading effect on the whole environment. So we really support sport fishing as our primary conservation goal, as well as a primary business goal. To make sport fishing work, to make conservation work, you really have to hit it on 3 different levels. There's a government piece to it, there's a marketing piece, getting people to the sport, and there's a science piece to it. So businesses can really get involved on all 3 of those levels. We can get involved in the science, we can get involved in the government, and we can get involved in marketing the sport to consumers. Within the science realm, there's a lack of funding for data collection. And so we have tried to step in and help fund some data collection on our own. So we've been working with the Billfish Foundation and their Adopt a Billfish program for years to try to gather information on billfish and, you know, what their migration patterns are, what the reproductive habits are. And so we funded a tagging program there along with a lot of other companies to help understand billfish a little bit better. One of our more recent things is with permit. And there's really no data available on permit. And if you're an inshore fisherman, you love to fly fish, permit is sort of the top of the heap. And we love permit fishing, we love permit. So we've really, we partner with Fish and Wildlife on a permit tagging program called Project Permit. And we're trying to gather information over the next few years on, you know, learn as much as we can about permit and what their habits are so we can protect them in the future. You know, the stakes are very high. Conservation is extremely important, not only to the sport fishing industry and tourism industry, but to our population as a whole. And so conserving our resources, conserving the ocean is critically important. And it's a big job. It's a huge job. And it's really going to take a concerted effort from consumers, from business, and from government to make it happen and to really protect what we have, you know, for the future and for our youth. So Costa is engaged in that mission. That's our cause. That's what we believe in. It's great for our business. It's also something that's going to protect the environment long-term for us as well. So it's something that we believe in and are committed to.
The Maverick Boat Company is another Florida-based company rich in history with over 50 years of experience in building the finest shallow water boats and dedicated to improving our marine environment. Scott Deal is the company president.
As a company, it's important to Maverick and all of our brands, Maverick Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia, to support these conservation associations. You know, I'm a lifetime member and was a Lifetime Achievement, first Lifetime Achievement Award winner for CCA. Because of the continued support over 20-something years that we've provided that organization. We recognize it's critical, we recognize it's important for future generations, and we remain committed and always have been. We didn't have organizations like this that were grassroots. We'd still be seeing inshore netting going on. We'd still struggle to find redfish. We'd see dead trout floating with gill net marks in them, and many, many other things that are less insidious than that. I mean, somebody has to fight these battles, and I think it's important that our industry folks step up and make the commitment to do that. We certainly have. I'm a father of 4, and my kids grew up fishing. I grew up fishing with my grandfather. I'd like to have the opportunity for them to enjoy the kind of experiences that I have that have helped shape my goals and aspirations in life, and a lot of which were formed on the water. I want that for all my kids and my kids' kids.
The future of Florida's fishing has always depended on its citizenry and its government's ability to maintain and protect our natural resources.
You want to let him go?
We can let him go.
I think that would be really cool if you think he'll be okay. Give me those gloves.
We got to do it. If
Get a hook out of him. Let's let him go, Randy.
Okay.
I don't know what he would pay you, but I think that says a lot.
We need to keep Florida as the fishing and diving capital of the world. It's everyone's responsibility to carry on that tradition so that everyone in Florida, especially our future generations, will always have a great sportsman's adventures. Check out the Sportsman's Adventures website at www.sportsmansadventures.com. Coming up next week on Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy.
Holy, look at that!
There's a beautiful Swanee bass.
He's getting all wet. Look at this! Where you at, Roland? Wow!
Sportsman's Adventures was brought to you by Contender Boats, performance through innovation. Costa Del Mar, see what's out there. Trigger X, trigger the bite. Ameritrail, custom trailer manufacturers. La Jolla Resort, a place for families and a place for fishermen. Maverick Boats. Suffix Lines, the world's most hardcore fishing line.